Hi, morning everybody. It's Ben True from Netpremacy. Apologies for the slight delay there in starting. We had some technical issues on our side. So, firstly, thank you for joining our employee engagement webinar hosted by Netpremacy and LumApps. The purpose of this session this morning is to give you guys an insight into how you're able to leverage a digital workplace through tools such as LumApps. Now, if we move on to the content for this morning's session on the next slide. There'll be a brief introduction from myself before I hand over to Dominic, who's also on the call from LumApps, to take you through, firstly, what employee engagement really means, how we actually look at engaging your employees, a demonstration of the product that is LumApps, and then both myself and Dominic will be available for a Q&A session at the end. So again, moving on to the next slide, to firstly introduce myself and Netpremacy. My name is Ben True. I'm head of business development here. I've been working in Netpremacy for 5 years now, helping different organizations leverage Google Cloud and general cloud technologies that's out there at the moment. Historically, Netpremacy has been a Google Cloud Premier Partner now for about 10 years. We've been helping organizations leverage products such as G Suite, Google Chrome, and also Google Cloud Platform. We've been in partnership now with LumApps for about 3 years, and we recognize LumApps as our valued a number one choice in terms of intranet partners. In terms of our engagement and how we sit in terms of with customers, we've developed our own methodology that will help people guide through from initial requirements gathering through to deployment and then helping supporting afterwards. I will now hand over to Dominic, who will welcome any questions, and then we can move on to the rest of the session this morning.
Thanks, Ben. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Shillingford. So I'm one of the strategic leads here in the UK for LumApps. My focus really is working with large enterprise organizations and helping them deliver their vision of the digital workplace. So I'll just jump straight in. A little bit about LumApps. So really the first thing that you should know about us is that we are a fast-growing software as a service company. We are currently today present in 8 offices around the world. I here am based in London. We have a team that are based in Paris and Lyon, as well as a team in the US on the East and West Coast, and a team out in APAC. The company was started probably about less than 4 years ago now. And we're really just getting started on our vision for the digital workplace. As a team grows, most of our team, about 50%, are actually focused on developing our solution. So probably about 60 or so people. And all of our development is done in-house. So we're really focused on being an innovative company with an innovative solution. And we're scaling really rapidly. So in less than 4 years, we've managed to connect over 3.6 million employees across all the customers that we work with. And just over the last couple of years, we've managed to go through 2 rounds of funding. So back in June 2017, we had our first Series A round of funding, which was about $8 million. And then just last year, towards the back end of the year, we had a second round of funding, which was around $24 million. So there's no doubt that we are definitely here to stay. Our team is scaling rapidly, and we're really delivering on our vision for the digital workplace for our customers. So what is Loo Maps? So today, Loo Maps is really a combination of 3 different things. What we do is we combine your traditional corporate portal by offering your customers top-down communication and bottom-up communication. Alongside that, we are offering our customers the ability to give each and every one of their employees a digital identity by giving them the ability to network with each other on a day-to-day basis. And last but not least, we allow you to collaborate across teams and different departments using the tools that you currently have within your productivity suite. So really that puts us in a unique place. We combine all of these three elements in one, and that really what makes Loo Maps stand out and makes us incredibly unique in the marketplace. Today, we've had success across multiple industries and companies, and we work with the likes of Google today. We work with the likes of our customers like Finish Line, who are in the retail sector. In the UK, we're working with the likes of The Telegraph and Just Eat, to name a few. But where it all started about 4 years ago was with our first customer, Veolia. They came to us with a problem. They wanted to connect their 120,000 employees across different countries and across different business units. And that's really where Loo Maps was born. Fast forward to today, 2019, as I mentioned, we're connecting over 3.6 million users across multiple companies, industries, and company sizes as well. So let's get started. There's been a lot of confusion about what employee engagement really is and what it really means. But I think this is really the best definition of what employee engagement is. So today, employee engagement really is a function of the relationship between an organization and its employees. And it's really about improving your workplace culture such that your employees feel more connected and dedicated to your company goals. So that really is the kind of purest definition of what employee engagement is. And ultimately, your employees should be passionate about working for your company. And there's a lot of evidence to prove that passionate and engaged employees go on to be more productive employees. So today, when we look at recent research back in 2017 by Gallup, what we find is that on a global scale, only 15% of employees are actually engaged. Now, if you focus just on the UK, what you'll find is that 8% in the UK of employees are engaged. So that's a really huge difference based on the worldwide average, but also really paints a scary picture of where your employees are today. If we compare that to some of the other countries that came out in this research piece, like the US was actually way above average with 33% of employees around the world that were fully engaged with their company, fully understood their company's mission and fully understood their company's vision. But in the UK, it seems to be quite different to that of employees around the world, where there are only 8% of employees engaged. So that's the kind of, I guess, the bad picture when it comes to employee engagement. But there is a positive picture on the other side. So actually, in the same research, what Gallup found was that 70% of employees are engaged in the top companies. So those engaged employees go on to be more productive and more profitable employees. And actually 21% more profit is made in companies where all of your employees are fully engaged. So it's not all negative. There is a way in which you can go on to be more productive. And I'm going to talk a little bit now about the ways in which you can leverage a digital workplace to go on and fully engage your employees in a number of different ways. So how can you go on to engage your employees? Well, really the starting point is speaking to your employees. So before you start conducting a review of your digital workplace, it's really on you to look at a number of different areas. And the first place that you should actually start is by giving your employees a voice, conducting user surveys, and really speaking to them about what they actually want. You probably may or may not have heard of the phrase your digital employee experience, but it's a phrase that's used a lot today when thinking about the digital workplace. So understanding how your employees use their tools on a day-to-day basis, understanding what apps help them get their job done better, understanding the hardware. So the type of laptops, the headphones, the speakers that they need to use to really get their job done is incredibly crucial to understanding what they need in their day-to-day lives. So that's one aspect. Speak to your users. The other aspect is find out what tools are most efficient for them. So really doing a review of which tools they use best and which tools that they are going to help them be better at their job every day, again, is incredibly crucial to delivering a true vision of your digital workplace. Recognizing employees is also incredibly important. So when your employees are delivering on their goals and then their own personal KPIs, recognizing them with vouchers, recognizing them amongst their peers is incredibly important to fully engage these individuals and drive them on to be more passionate about your company goals and to be more successful. One other thing that's come up in some of our research and research that's out there is also considering the design as well. So understanding that a design that not only looks good, but also functions good in the way in which you use your different tools is incredibly important to consider when thinking about your digital workplace. And also things like one-to-one conversations. So really providing a stimulating environment for your employees to have conversations around your day-to-day work and conversations around upcoming events and so on is incredibly important when it comes to engaging your employees. So now I'm just going to focus on kind of 4 key areas that you should consider when thinking about your digital workplace and the technology that can underpin that digital workplace. So really the starting point is providing a really intuitive employee experience. So providing a corporate branded environment in which your employees can conduct their work is incredibly important. That's something that our customers look to us to provide them with. We provide them with really advanced design capabilities so that they can have all of their branding and their branding that matches their company corporate logo, that matches their company colors, having the same fonts that that they would expect to see, and really providing the same branding that you see externally from an internal point of view as well is incredibly important when thinking about engaging your employees. Secondly, providing a personalized space for them to do their work. So not just providing personalized content in the form of news, but also personalizing the applications in which they use on a day-to-day basis. So providing your salespeople with all the apps that they would use on a day-to-day basis, or for example, providing your HR employees with all the apps that they would use on a day-to-day basis is really important. And alongside that, also providing your users with a personalized area in which they can see all the documents for their particular department or their particular country as well, really goes a long way to making sure that that intuitive experience within your digital workplace is highly, highly personalized. Moving on, thirdly, you want to make sure that there's seamless integrations with your productivity suite. So when you're in your digital workplace, it should really be the single entry point to give you quick access to your email, give you quick access to your upcoming meetings in your calendar, as well as give you the opportunity to launch real-time communication, all from one dashboard. So what we do here at Loo Maps is we really provide a simplified and unified experience that gives you quick access to your digital workplace and your productivity tools. And I mentioned earlier, really giving a voice to your employees. You can create communities that are either department-based or location-based. And you can also provide communities and a space for your employees to really express themselves. So here they can have the opportunity to write posts, to get their questions answered, to view documents and policies that are being shared within, let's say, for example, the HR department or the sales department, and also go ahead and start to plan meetings and synchronize those meetings within your calendar. So creating communities for your users is incredibly important, and a really seamless way of really driving employee engagement on a one-to-one level. And last but not least, when it comes to really driving engagement with your employees, you want to be able to really measure that engagement over time. So the things that you can do, of course, is using kind of integrations with analytics. You should be able to identify, first of all, what you want to measure. And once you've identified that, you can start to figure out a way of really measuring the interaction within different teams and different departments, as well as measuring interaction across different geographical locations, and start to share and exchange knowledge and ideas based on the analytics that you see within those different locations and those different departments. So over time, you can start to build a picture and start to benchmark, if you will, who are the most active communities, which are based on departments or based on locations, which are the most active pages. You can start to identify what type of content really resonates with the users and your employees within your company. And over time, you can start to build a picture and really pinpoint the areas that you want to develop, identify where the weak spots are, and really identify where the opportunities for you to improve that engagement over time. And at this point, I'm going to switch over to a demonstration of Loo Maps that really brings to life some of those key areas that I've just talked about. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen. So just give me one moment. So can everyone see my screen? Hopefully so. So I'll just jump straight in. So look, I'm just going to give you a very short demonstration of the Loo Maps platform. What you see here is really a demo that we created to show you all of the different features and functionality that you can leverage in your digital workplace. What you'll see here on the screen, everything is customizable. So you can have different areas within your Loo Maps environment. So of course you can have your homepage, you can have a knowledge base, you can have your community areas, as well as your user directory. All of these are customizable, so you can change the colors, and of course you can change the layout of each and every page. And really, when we designed and launched Loo Maps with our first customer just over 4 years ago, we wanted to create an environment that really democratized the use of the digital workplace. So alongside IT, we wanted to give internal communications people and HR people the ability to create a really engaging platform to communicate with their employees. So starting on the homepage, you'll see here a number of different widgets. You'll see here the first widget, which is a carousel widget, displaying all the news that everyone within your company would see. So this will be the news, for example, that the leadership team are publishing. It might be news around your most recent quarter activity. It might be news around some of the marketing activity that or advertising that you just recently launched. But what you have the ability to do within Loo Maps is really personalized news. So the news that I see would be very different to the news that someone in another department sees. So what you'll see here, if I scroll down just slightly down the page, is news based on who I am within the company. So let's say you can personalize that news based on the department that you're in, based on the location, and based on the job function that you're in. And all of that is based on your identity. So you will log into the Loo Maps environment, and that news is pre-filtered based on, as I mentioned, who you are in the company. Now, if I scroll into one of the news articles here, what you'll see is a template for news. So within that template, you'll have some, you'll have a title for that piece of news. You can have an image, you can have a video, and also you can have a pre-populated template, or you can customize the layout of each and every piece of news content within the news. So let's say I want to share this news with one of my colleagues. So my colleague Chris, I really like this piece of news that I'm reading. I want to share it with him. So I'll type in his name, Chris Bennett, and then I'll say, look, you know, this is a great news article. Wanted to share it with you, Chris. And in that comment on that news article, not only can I like and share it, but I can also attach rich media. So I can attach a document, I can attach a picture, or I can attach a link to another article. And then I simply submit. And then Chris will be notified about that comment on that article. Now, if I scroll back to the homepage, not only can I get personalized news and I can share that with my colleagues, but also you can get different types of content within the Loo Maps environment that is based on who I am in the company. So I can also, through a simple integration, get the latest job offers internally based on who I am. So if let's say I'm in HR, I can see, or if I'm in sales, for example, I can see all the latest news in my location based on the job function that I currently have. And through one click, I can click straight onto that and it will take me into that job posting, where I can find out more information about that particular job posting, and I can apply for that role internally. If I go back to the home page and scroll a little bit further down, as I mentioned earlier, we want to give you the ability to get quick access to your everyday applications. And of course, because it's personalized, I'm only going to see the applications that because I'm in sales, would use every day. So as a super user or an administrator, what you have the ability to do is to ensure that each and every one of your employees only sees the applications that they in their department would use every day. So as I'm in sales, I'm only going to see the CRM. I'm only going to see quick access to LinkedIn Sales Navigator and the applications that I want to use every day. I can go on to bookmark those applications. So next time I come into the platform, I simply can go to my business apps at the top of the page. I click here, and then I can quickly go into, through one click and single sign-on, the applications that I want to use every day. And let's say I'm in HR and I want to use Workday, and that's something that I use every day. Again, as you can see here, I can click quickly and get straight into my Workday application. I scroll down a little bit further and I get access to my productivity suite. So through single sign-on, I don't have to log into different applications. Once I'm logged into my Loo Maps environment, I can quickly see what my upcoming events are in my calendar. I can get quick access to all the documents or policies that are in my Google Drive, and I can also see the latest and upcoming emails. And I can access all of those by simply clicking on them, and it takes me straight into those different applications. I scroll down further and then I can get access to communities. Now, I touched on this a little bit earlier, and there's a lot that you can do with communities within the Loo Maps environment. So if I go into one of the communities that I follow, I click here. Then you'll see a number of different types of posts within communities. So there's really 3 or 4 types of posts that you can do. So the first type of post that you can do within a community is an ideas post. So let's say you have an idea, a marketing idea in this case, about rebranding. So you can simply ask everyone within your community a question about rebranding. Then they have the ability to comment on that question by simply clicking here, and I can respond, and I can include Rebecca in my response. And I can say, great idea. And of course, I can attach any rich media to that. And Rebecca will be notified by that up here. I can also suggest ideas for events through an ideas post. I can also vote on ideas as well. So if I go into another community, if I just quickly click back to the home page, click back into communities, I go into the human resources group. Oh, sorry, I'll just go back into communities. I'll go into the sales community group. Then you'll see here a few more different ways in which you can do posts within your group. And within each community, you can actually follow and get notifications, as I mentioned down here. And straight from a community, you can also get quick access to your drive from that community. So let's say you have an HR group, you can have a specific HR community which has documents and policies, or you can also get quick access to a calendar. So for each community, you can have, let's say, marketing, all of the upcoming events that you want within that specific community as well. Now, a crucial aspect of every digital workplace is the user directory. So typically, a number of the customers that we've spoken to in the last 4 or 5 years, they often tell us that search is an issue for them. So whether it's finding people or whether it's finding documents, it's incredibly important to every digital workplace. So let's start with finding people. Now, what you can do within the Loo Maps environment is using your Google Cloud identity. This can generate automatically your user profile. And from that user profile, what you can actually do using the management field is you can spin up a quick organogram. So you can actually see everyone within the company or everyone within your department. Through your Google Cloud identity, it pulls in the information that you would expect. So things like your job title, the location that you're based in, your email address, and things like your phone number. But within Loo Maps, you can actually add additional criteria for which you find people. So let's say I have a look for Chloe. What you can actually do alongside Chloe is you can actually add things like skills, and you can actually add things like level of seniority as well. All of which help you find anyone that you need within the company. And straight from Chloe's profile, what I can actually do is I can send her an email directly using Gmail, or I can actually launch a Hangout directly from her profile. So, as I mentioned, search is a really important aspect of the Loo Maps platform. So if I'm looking for a specific person within the company or a specific thing within Loo Maps, let's say I'm searching for sales, what you'll find is that we have 360 degrees of search, which allows you to not only find different types of content, but it also allows you to surface different communities. So I can find all the communities that are attributed to sales. I can find all of the documents and policies within my drive that are also attributed to sales, as well as be able to find users, and also be able to find content as well. So it really is an all-encompassing way in which you can find everything that you need within your digital environment. And at that point, it brings me to a close. So that really is the end of the first part of the demo. And now what I'm going to do is just quickly navigate to the admin console within Loo Maps. So it really is easy and really intuitive way in which you can create content and really launch that content to all of your users. So what you do is you click here and you'll see all of the different settings within the Loo Maps environment. So because I'm a super user, what I see is all of these different options. As a super user, what I can do is I can actually distribute different roles and permissions and allow people to, let's say, the HR team to only have access to publishing content around HR or to launching job offers. Or if the learning and development team want to have access to just the knowledge base, then I can also distribute those roles and permissions as well. But as a super user, if I click to editing content, what you're going to see here is the design console. So it really is easy to create content within Loo Maps, to change the colors, to change the fonts and so on. So you'll see that it's really a drag and drop interface. So if I wanted to move one of these different widgets, then I simply drag that over, and that's pretty straightforward to do. And alongside that, if I wanted to edit some of this content, it's very, very straightforward. So I click on this widget. I want to change the title of this specific widget. I'll click on title here. I can simply change that by editing this and clicking on news, and then I can save that. So it's very, very straightforward. I'll scroll down a little bit further, and then I can, for example, I can omit the author of this post by clicking on advanced. So I simply click on this toggle here, and I can take out the author. I can take out the social actions on this post. So I can take out the likes, shares, and comments. And also as well, if I wanted to remove the tags that pre-filters and personalizes that content. So as you can see here, this content has been personalized to salespeople in Brazil. Then also I can remove that as well by simply clicking tags. So it really is a simple interface where at a few clicks you can create content, and at a few clicks you can change content without any issues. You can also see here who has last changed the content as well. So if you click on advanced, you can see who has last edited that content, and you can see which version was last edited by one of your colleagues. And with that, that brings today's demo of Loo Maps to a close. So look, in essence, what you'll find here is that technology really has the ability to really help engage your employees. And we're really at the beginning of what is the digital workplace revolution. And I think Loo Maps is well placed. We've got a lot of experience in this area to really help you deliver your overall vision of the digital workplace.